Hello again, photographers and wildlife enthusiasts. Welcome to my channel. If you find the information that I share with you in this video helpful, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. It helps out with my channel, that it draws more people to it. It's shown more around the internet. So let's delve into Photoshop Camera Raw. In a recent trip to Dauphin Island, my buddy and I came across some skimmers doing some very unique things. I've never seen them dive their heads back into the water and almost go underwater while they're flying. So we're going to delve into this first picture that I'm going to select to edit. So I click on it, open it up in Camera Raw. Now to let you know, I'm shooting with a Z9, as you can see up in the top of the screen here. Just got that thing back in April. Love it. I shoot with the 200 to 500 millimeter f-mount lens with a 1.4 using the Nikon adapter. I can't wait to get my hands on a 180 to 600 f-mount lens. I'm looking forward to seeing it. So we're going to start off first. One of the things I'm going to talk about is the dehaze. I've heard this from a number of different people. I'd never thought about it before, didn't notice the difference. But they do recommend doing this first when you get started. And the reason being is, if you do all your adjustments and then you adjust the haze, it will affect some of your settings that you just did. They recommend you do that first and then go in and do all your other adjustments. But I'm not going to use it today, so I'm going to go down. First of all, I'm going to check my optics to make sure my lens profile is in there. Turning it off, you don't see so much, but did you see the little bit of vignetting going on? Now, some images, you'll see a little distortion because of the curvature of the lens. It's not so much on this one, but I always make sure it's on. In this particular lens, when I bring it into Camera Raw, it's automatically turned on. Sometimes I have to go into the lens profile, the make, and select the Nikon setting, because some of the f-mount lenses are not automatically in there. Don't know why. And then I go in and I hit my remove chromatic and aberrations, and I have that on. Next, I go into my details. I will hold the Alt key while I'm clicking on the mask, and you can see it whites out. And so I'll bring it up until the very edge of the bird shows up. That's going to be most of the area is going to get the sharpening. One good thing about the mirrorless cameras, most of them, the newer models and these great sensors they got, they pretty much are real sharp. I'll set between 50 to 75. I'll put this one in about 65. Now I'm finished with that. I'm going to go up to my basic settings. I'll add a little contrast. You can see the histogram widening out. I'm going to bring down the highlights here because that sand is very bright. I did not use exposure compensation on the camera because of the dark birds. I'll kick up my shadows because I want everything to pop. And you can see the blue water lightened up. Now, the next thing is your white. I'm going to again hold the Alt key, click on it, and I'm going to show you something dragging it all the way to the white. You see all that white area? That is blown out area. If you look at the histogram, everything is over to the right. The little white box above it is on. I'm going to try to pull that down, and you can see the box went blank, but you can see all that little area in the black is starting to go away. Those are areas that everything now pretty much is not blown out. I'll leave it right about there. I'm going to do the same. Alt, click on it, and I'm going to bring it all the way down to the left this time. All this area is black. There's nothing in there. It's just black. So I'm going to bring it up until almost all that disappears. And you can see that's a pretty good setting for your image. That's a balanced image. I'm going to add a little clarity. And you can see clarity brought the water up a little bit. Now, I still have a little area blown out, but you're not going to notice that. That one little red spot showing up there. That's not enough to worry about. All right, my next step is, because I edit a lot in Photoshop into filters like Topaz Photo AI, I crop my images first. If you don't do it, when you go in and you crop it in Photoshop and you bring it into Topaz Photo AI, you're going to get the whole image in there to process. It takes longer. I don't need the whole thing done at that time. Now, in Lightroom, There's some different things. May talk about that later. But I'm going to hit the crop tool, and I hold the shift key because I want the ratio of this image to stay the same. If you don't hold it, I can show you. You see how it acts? Well, no, I'm going to go down, I'm going to bring it back, I'm going to hold the shift, and I'm going to bring it up. There's my ratio that I've had from the original image. And I'm going to shift it a little bit. All right, I think that's pretty good. And I'm going to hit the little area above the crop, and now I've got pretty much what I want. Now, there is a new feature that's been added both in Lightroom and Photoshop, and that's the masking tool. This is a marvelous. The masking has gotten much better over the years, especially lately. So if I click on that, it'll open up 3 boxes. You can select a subject, you can select a sky. There's no sky in this one, or background. Okay, I'm going to select the background. And you can see it pretty much did a good job. There's a few areas I probably wouldn't want selected, but I'm going to go in and I'm going to subtract the water. I don't want it to be affected. So I'm going to paint across this, and the outer band is sort of feathered, so you really don't have where it gives you a harsh line. So I'm subtracting all that because I don't want that to get any darker. All right, so I think I pretty much have everything I want to do. Now, I'm going to bring down the exposure of that sand because it's a little too bright for me right now. And you can see, here comes down. And I'm going to kind of even it out just a tad bit. All right, so there's my image so far. I'm going to go in, I'm going to create another mask layer. And this time, I'm going to select the subject. So once I click on the subject, now the bird should be selected. That looks pretty good. I'm going to leave the white area on the edge of the wings to be the same. But this, I don't want to be affected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the subtract again. And I'm going to subtract this area. There's a little bit that's been picked up. I don't want it to change. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in, take the shadows. I'm going to kick the shadows up. And you can see the wings are lightening up. It's getting a lot sharper, a lot more vivid, like I like to think it is. So that's pretty good. I might kick up a little bit on the exposure. Now, one of the things that is interesting, I'm going to go and close this out. And I'm ready to go. So I'm going to send it over to Photoshop. I'm going to click open, and we're going to jump ahead. All right, we're now in Photoshop. I'm getting ready to use my filters on this. My image is pretty much where I want it, but I want to add a denoise in Topaz Photo AI. There's not much noise in there. Sometimes in the darker areas, you'll see a little bit, but I do this just as a safety precaution. So I'm going to hit Command J. That'll be Alt and J. So I got a new layer. And in there, I'm going to go and I'm going to open up Topaz Photo AI. We're going to jump ahead. All right, we're in Topaz Photo AI. You can see I'll leave it on automatic, let it scan. It's going over the whole image. It is pretty good about picking up where the noise is at, or even sharpening if it needs it. So we're going to jump ahead again. So now it's at that point, it's almost finished. It's removing the noise, and it'll come to a complete stop pretty soon. There it is. It shows preview update. You can scan it and look. If you think it's not sharp enough, then you can go in and click sharpen, and it'll start the process over. But pretty much this is the way I like it. It's removed what little bit of noise might be there. So now I'm going to hit save to Adobe Photoshop and go back. So we're going to jump ahead again while it goes back to Photoshop. All right, we're back in Photoshop. My image looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. So now I'm going to save it to my folder on my hard drives that I put all my editing in that particular bird type. So I hit save. And here it is in my black skimmers. I'm going to hit edit, open that up, and say save. All right. So while it's saving it, I'm going to also reduce the size of this image. And I'm going to bring it down to 2048. and it'll be 1365 at 300. I'll click OK. Now I'm going to add my logo. And as you can see over here, I have Wildlife Paul Dovey Jr. I can hit the arrow, or I can use the shortcut, which is the command F1. It adds it in. And I put a second one to write over it also to darken it up. Now I'm going to hit save again. All right, this image comes up. Something Photoshop did a few years back. Don't understand it. But if you go down in here, you don't see JPEG there. It used to sit there and reduce all your layers down to a flat layer, one layer. But it doesn't do that anymore. So I'm going to have to hit save as copy. And you can see it shows a copy. Well, I'm going to take copy. I don't like all that extra stuff in there. And I'm going to go down now and, oh, look, there's JPEG now. So I can save it as a JPEG. Because that image was processed earlier, it's there again. So I'm going to replace it. Now, click OK. And I'm finished. And I'm going to close out. I don't need to save anymore because if you save it at this, it overwrites the Photoshop document and you lose all your layers and everything else. All right, we are finished. I hope you enjoyed that. Please hit the like and the subscribe button to be notified when I post new videos. Thank you for being with me, and y'all have a blessed day.